Unpopular opinion. A lot of women claim that they want a man who's emotionally mature and has his shit together until you actually get one. And then you realize that man come with discipline, standards, boundaries, limits. He don't just give in to you because you said you wanted something, and he not dealing with no smart ass mouth just because it's you. Now all of a sudden he a lying ass narcissist and he don't know how to treat a woman because he don't just give you your way all the time. He actually uses logic and discipline whenever he thinks and he moves and he acts. He's an emotional abuser because even...
She's going in. A lot of women say they want emotionally mature while at the same time being immature. That man did all the internal work. Childhood trauma, relationship trauma, whatever it was. Now he knows who he is and he will not compromise his peace. He knows to build that peace, he's going to need some discipline, standards, boundaries, limitations. And the first time she run into a real one, she looking like a deer in headlights. Some women don't want a man with standards. They want somebody they can steer. A man that folds up when the emotion turns up. To tell the truth, they want somebody they can move with emotion. And when you show her you're a real one, you're mean, you're a narcissist, you're broke, and you don't know how to treat a woman. If no makes you the enemy, it was never love in the first place, it was leverage. That first time you don't fold, you find out if she respects you. She mentioned the smart mouthpiece too. If every time you ask for support, the text is a bad attitude, that's compliance with resentment. And resentment always shows up later. This is why I tell men, don't get hypnotized by the looks. You have to watch how she handles you, especially when you say no. If you're calm and respectful, then you draw a line and she's flying through the roof, just keep it moving. No need to apologize. No need to talk it out. Because at that point, you're not talking to solve, you're talking to survive. And if she can't understand this, on date one, I'm not spending $300. I'm not going to have this conversation with you while you're being disrespectful. You don't need to debate. You don't need to get loud like I've done in the past, getting my blood pressure boiling. You just need to observe and decide if this is where you want to be. Here, you're not vetting for perfection. You're vetting for respect, emotional regulation, and accountability. I need to hear the rest of this, so let's get back to it. But before we dive in, take a second to head over to lnscandleco.com and pick up one of our signature triple wick candles. LNS, light a wick, lower the noise. This is our family business built on quality, peace, and intention. These candles aren't just decor, they shift the atmosphere. They bring a calm that men and women both need, especially in a world that's loud, chaotic, and constantly pulling at your energy. Use code EMPOWERMENT for 15% off your order. Whether you're unwinding, working, or setting the tone for your home, LNS gives your space that grounded, elevated feel.
When you summon the waterworks, he don't let you win the argument. He want to still come to some kind of conflict resolution and talk about whatever it is that y'all needed to talk about. He'll give you a second to get your emotions together and check on the side over there, and then come back and let's finish discussing whatever we were discussing, because it's a bigger problem at hand than just you crying right now. I get it, you're emotional, but he don't just let that control him in the ways that other men let that control him, because he got his shit together, remember?
Exactly.
And until you're ready to actually communicate, leave that man where he at. Until you actually ready to listen, leave that man where he at. Until you're ready to sit down and have real adult conversations, leave that man where he at. Because let me tell you something, dealing with a man who's emotionally mature is not for the weak.
Bro, she got to be in culinary school because she is cooking. I don't usually hear women talk like this. A mature man doesn't get controlled by the crying, by the yelling, the attitude, or the bratty behavior. Feelings are real. They just don't get to become a weapon. We're saying this plain and simple. I'll give you your space to feel what you feel. And then we had to come back to the issue because it's unresolved. She's letting y'all know when a man is steady, women can experience him as cold. They're used to being able to move whole conversations and trains of thought with emotion. So when you don't panic, when you're not chasing, begging, and explaining yourself, now you're emotionally abusive. She say, let's go to Japan. You say, the rent is due. Now you're financially abusive. You notice anytime men lay down the law, we're abusers. Pay attention to that. Nowadays, we're abusers, we're gay, or we're broke. That's what people throw when they can't control you. Leadership is my role as a man. Someone has to stay in frame. It's the only way to build stability. The rule for my guys is allow the emotions in the room, but they don't get to guide the conversation. If you need time to answer, don't let her pressure the answer out of you. Let her know, I hear you. Let me think for a second. If she tries to talk over that, she doesn't want you thinking. She wants you reacting. What happens after that is you start avoiding these hard conversations because of the emotional overload. You walk on eggshells to keep her happy, and then you lose all boundaries, and the cost is your peace. An adult conversation will be more like, this is what happened. This is how we fix it. And you move on from that. If that's too much for her emotionally, she cannot be held accountable. If you're in a situation where you're afraid of the crying, the shame, and the flip of the script, at that point, it's not a relationship anymore. It's a pressure cooker. And the fix is simple. Keep it respectful. If it turns into disrespect, step back. If it stays chaos, you leave. Peace is the requirement. Now let's jump into the next video.
5 signs of emotional manipulation. Number 5, playing the victim. Someone who manipulates often seeks sympathy as a way to shift attention or control behavior. It can be hard to tell if someone is truly suffering or playing the victim. The key is whether it's a pattern or a one-time event. If it keeps happening, it's likely manipulation. Number 4, gaslighting. This is when they distort reality to make you doubt
delusion.
yourself. You start questioning if you really said or did something. You may even feel the need to write things down just to keep track. It messes with your sense of reality.
This list cuts through all the confusion. He starts with playing the victim and moves right into gaslighting. Those two right there are the quickest ways to take control of a situation without taking responsibility. When somebody is playing the victim, it's always about what they feel, never about what you feel. And the conversation becomes more about what they feel and less about what they did to cause the situation. Sometimes they don't even know they're doing it just because it's who they are. That's a mindset flaw, and you won't be able to fix it. Then we move into gaslighting. When they try to make it seem like you don't have the same 5 senses they have and talk to you like you didn't just see what you just saw, you're over there like, did I? Was that? Did they? Now they got you asking if the sky's really blue, and that's what they want. They do this with, I never said that. You're doing too much. Before you know it, you don't even trust yourself. That's when you get to over-explaining, hoping it'll avoid an argument. That's a trap. To avoid the trap, fellas, take a look at your situation. If you're always confused in the conversation, you're not delusional. Slow down. Write it down if you can. Don't argue about reality. If confusion is the goal, manipulation is the method.
Number 3, blame shifting. They can't take accountability, so they shift the blame to someone else. Their ego
Accountability
can't
is
handle
key.
being at fault, so when something goes wrong, they find a way to make it someone else's problem. Number 2, flattery ends. At first, they compliment you, do nice things, and seem helpful, but only because they want something from you. Once they get what they need, all that kindness disappears.
Exactly.
And the number 1 sign of emotional manipulation is isolation. They slowly distance you from friends and family, making you feel guilty for wanting to keep close connections. It becomes harder to maintain the relationships that matter the most to you.
These last 3, they're dangerous. Blame shifting means zero accountability on her part. Now you're the villain. Everything is your fault. She does something to you and she makes it your fault that it happened. You have to watch people who don't hold themselves accountable. It is a learned trait and some people never learn it. If you're with someone who doesn't hold themselves accountable, you're going to be the problem no matter what happens. When she stops being kind, many men start chasing that old version of her. In your head, it's like, if I do more, she'll go back to how she was. Nah, that was her personal representative giving you a sales pitch. You have to pay attention to small changes in behavior because those small changes reveal who she really is. And your job at this point is to believe her. Now, isolation, this one is really deadly. It starts subtle. Why you always with them? They don't really love you. They don't support you like I do. And now you feel guilty for having friendships. Meanwhile, you're becoming more dependent on the person who's pressuring you. Usually when someone is trying to get you away from people who are genuinely good for you and have your interest at heart, it's because they're hiding something that they don't want other people to show you. Look, the non-negotiable here is anyone punishing you for having friends, family, mentors, or being involved in the community is probably running a control play. That one is for men and women. If you have to give up your support system for the relationship, that's not love, that's ownership. And here's what I want y'all to understand. Boundaries expose entitlement. Manipulation punishes boundaries. If you want a peaceful relationship, don't look for chemistry. Look for self-regulation, accountability, and respect when the conversation goes left. This keeps you from picking a problem. That's it, guys. You know the drill. Head on over to lnscandleco.com, pick you up a triple wick candle, use code empowerment to get 15% off your order. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Love yourself, trust yourself, honor yourself, and value yourself. Peace.